Hey, you want to check out what's happening in alternative porn in France? Let me introduce you to Carré Rose Films. Founded by Carmina, a French-Mexican performer and longtime advocate for sex worker rights. This indie studio is doing things differently, putting performers first, pushing for diversity, and tackling industry issues head on, all of which keep all while keeping things hot and fun. One example, check out this series, 60 Minutes with. Carmina meets a fellow performer for 1 hour. No script, no plan, just sees where the moment takes them, and you get to be right there with them. Don't worry about whether you speak French or not. All films are either in English or subtitled, so you won't miss a thing. Curious? Head to carrierosefilms.com. That's Carrie rosefilms.com. Cams.com is a performer-run webcam studio working with models who want to make serious bank doing online sex work. Top Treasure Cams models are earning 100K plus a year, taking home weekly fat paychecks. We have a great affiliate program to reward you for any traffic you bring to the site. We help you set up with equipment, tech, sales techniques, monthly meetings, and so much more. Visit treasurecams.com to learn more about us and to cam with us. Have you ever been looking for an amazing queer cam performer? Well, I got you covered. You should check out TS Cami. Her super hot content is on Chatterbait, Twitter, Xhamster, and Reddit. Support this rad trans femme. Enter your fantasies. Big Fantasy is a porn star, stripper, femdom, and expert making your fantasies come true. Explore Fig's secret, luxurious world at AQUATAFANA collective.net and at Figs Fantasies on OnlyFans and Figs Fantasy on Instagram. She's waiting for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Performers Pod. I'm Chelsea Poe, and I'm here today with Olivia Vee. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, so nice to be here. Thank you.
I'm so excited to talk to you. I feel like we have so many crossover interests other than making very similar content.
I know. It's so weird how we like never crossed paths before until I started posting like some weird baking stuff about weird faces.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, I don't, my partner is like a straight up like chef, so I'm like a trad wife in every other way but cooking. But also, I shoot like the craziest porn, and I'm like, oh my God, relatable. And then we talked about Taylor Swift a bunch.
Right? Like honestly, like my entire life is like like BDSM and Taylor Swift and weird like cooking. That's literally it. Like if you could sum me up, which is like such a weird crossover. Like if there was like a Venn diagram of me, like there wouldn't be able to like have any loop over because how the hell like any of those like minus the weird cooking and BDSM go together.
Yeah, I was actually around someone recently, and I was with another friend, and they knew one of us did porn, but they just read me as a Swiftie, so they're like, "Oh no, the other person does porn." And I'm like, "No, you can be both a
It's
Swiftie and do
it's
porn."
me.
So, I feel like I've just like kind of always known you existing through like mutuals and stuff, and always saw your porn that's always like super hot. So, where are you like from originally, and how did you kind of get into the industry?
Oh my God. So I'm originally from Wichita, Kansas. Um
Fellow
I know
Midwesterner. I love
yeah, I
that.
know. Like I feel like the Midwest like plot line of like porn is so like niche because there's so many of us that like I don't realize and I'm like, "Oh my God, like, there's like Goth Charlotte. I mean not Goth Charlotte, sorry, like Goth Summer that's like literally
Hmm.
like still living in Oklahoma and I'm like, "Girl, like you kill it." Like but like still living in Oklahoma, you know?
Hmm.
Which is so weird. And then like there's me from Kansas and like I like started um oh my God, I'm trying to think because I started full service like God when I was like early 20s because I'm
Hmm.
turned 33 this year. So like early
Same.
early 20s. And like one of my friends was like, "Why don't you just go online?" And I like had been like one of those people that like I hate social media. I don't want to do it. Like I don't have like personal social media. Like I think I have one that's like from like when I like listen to hardcore music and I keep up with like still some of those things like very rarely, but that's like the only one I have straggling left that I've had like that I never update ever. But I just like have never been a social media person.
Hmm.
And then like my friend was like, no, just get online. And then I went online like 2016 and I fucking like my first video went fucking like viral on like sex work Twitter and I was like, shit. And then I got active in Exotica and I was like, all right, well here we go. Like this is it.
Are you originally from like the hardcore scene?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw you post a Knock Loose thing. I was like, wait, are you also from? Yeah, I grew up like playing in metal and hardcore bands, so
Oh no way. Oh my God.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like
I
too many mutual interests here. It's kind of
Oh,
crazy.
I know. I'm like, how we probably honestly probably have like seen each other like on the back end of things and not really realize like because it's like I always try like unless I'm like not like 100% sure someone who it is like I don't like acknowledge them, just out of like, safety and whatever. But yeah, no, I started going to hardcore shows when I was like 11 and then I
Yeah.
like went on tour when because I was one of those like really awful vegans that used to like berate and like abuse people.
Oh my God, I worked at a venue that was a all vegan venue.
Oh my God, get out
Yeah. Oh my God. I totally like blocked that in my mind where like there'd be bands on tour and they would just like have like a burrito and they'd be like, you can't eat that in here. They would get so mad.
Oh my God, I know, like where I would be like, because I was like, those like really shitty, like I went on Warp Tour and I was like, those shitty people that would be like, you're murdering a fucking cow.
Yeah, like PETA too, right?
Oh God, I never worked for Peter because I always knew Peter was some fuck ass shit. I worked
Yeah.
for like somebody like, well, the guy's been like charged with like not good things, so I'm not even gonna mention it. But
I mean, that's like every guy from that scene, like
God, right, like every other fucking
uh,
like like it's not like if like honestly, it's like a rarity if you're not charged. Like that is like the issue.
yeah.
But yeah, that like yeah, I still go to shows like, oh my God, like there's like a 6-year gun show that I'm going to, like in like a
Oh
few
shit.
and I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm going to like Wisconsin to go see Turnover. I mean, that Turnover's not metal, but I like my sad me. I mean, Taylor Swift and Turnover, I feel like those are like they combine
I
for
mean, like the emo midwestern thing's always gonna like be
yeah,
a thing. Like
you can never escape it.
yeah, my whenever I show my friends here, so I'm from a small town named Holland, Michigan, but it's like next to Grand Rapids, which a lot of disputes from. So whenever I show my
Oh,
friends that here, they're like, "What the fuck? How did you grow up in this place where it's just like this white boy screaming about like killing himself and shit?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's just normal here.
yeah, like I mean, if I didn't hear like a white boy screaming about like killing himself every other day, like did I actually grow up in the Midwest? Like,
It's part of life."
right?
So you were doing like full service, and then you just were like, "Hey, I'm gonna make a scene on my own in Kansas."
Yeah, like I started because like I've always like done anal like because I've always been interested in like heavy porn and like just like the beauty of it. Like it was mostly just like I love like history things. So like anything that like like just like the history of BDSM and like the history of like women going into sex work and like the history of
Mm-hmm.
tattooing. Like tattooed women, like being like a taboo thing. Like I mean, pretty much anything that women did or have done or will ever do, or it's considered taboo if you like have like any kind of free spirited type thing. So that's kind of just what has always led me into like why I love like the BDSM part of like life and yeah, it just like it took off like I like started like just posting like anal content and then like 6 months into it I started like posting a video of me fisting my ass and like pouring pee in my ass and like they were like who is this random fucking person just doing this?
Just like doing like it for truly the love of the game.
Right? Like I just did it. Like I remember I had a roommate once and I was like, okay, I could like couldn't read because like I'm 4'10", so like sometimes like I mean the positions I have to get into, like it's pretty hard to like do all these things. And I remember I had to like call my roommate in and I was like in this position, like ass gaped, and I was like, you have to pour the pee in my asshole.
Also, like I find it so funny because like I was doing porn in college and stuff, so I was like living like college campus like housing, so I had like roommates and shit, and it was always like, oh yeah, I'm like doing this crazy thing, and then your roommate's just like, normal ass life, who's like,
No,
I'm supportive, but like, okay.
No, it was so funny. Like we like so we met like because I used to like do hair. Like so I
Mhm.
moonlighted like being full service like forever, but I did hair for a long time during it. And I still like have my license and everything and then went back to get my SD license because I'm like a jack of all trades because like for me I think growing up in the Midwest like you're always instilled of like you must work all the time. So I'm like I
It's
always like needed to
so bad.
have so
It's
much like so many things that like if one goes down like I have like nights and other things that I can rely on. I don't know if that's like a infiltrated in my Midwest brain,
Yeah, I
but
mean that's such a fucking real thing. Like the work ethic of the Midwest is just like you're supposed to just kill yourself every fucking day.
yeah, like if you're not working 16 hours a day then you're a fucking piece of shit.
Exactly. And like I had to unlearn that shit so hard because especially with like I do camming and like with other kinds of porn, I will literally just go fucking nonstop. Like I
Yeah.
literally got exhaustion once where I had to like go in and get IVs and shit because there's like, oh yeah, you've been doing this nonstop. Also, I did a
Oh,
really intense bootlicking scene with not a clean boot, which kind of contributed to that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as hot as that is, because like the sub meat is like, I need that, but then I'm like, what about not we don't put parasites in our mouth? Like, what about we not?
I feel like it was for this like experimental site. Do you know Four Chambers?
Yes, yeah.
So they were paying me my mainstream rate. So I was like, I have to do something crazy. I'm like, I
Oh,
have
yeah.
to.
I mean, I would do it anyway. Like, I've done a lot. I mean, I've done crazier shit for free when I didn't know my worth. So like, so I mean, which is like, I mean, I like obviously I don't do that anymore, but like,
You're a
yeah,
professional at this now,
yes,
so it's not
yes.
just
Damn it. I demand my bootlicking rate, but not like a cop rate. Like I don't support cops. Like bootlicking, like being a
no.
some want to make that very clear. No cop,
If you're listening to this podcast, you know. You know.
right?
Um yeah, like speaking of that, like so it sounds like you were also like a sub in your like real life, but then you saw that it could be like this artistic outlet. Like for me that was so game changing where I'm like, wow, I get to live out all my crazy shit and make art of it instead of it just like being this like crazy thing I'm trying to plan on my own time that I have nothing from. Was that like really big for you?
Yeah, yeah, honestly, because I feel like, I feel like when I came into it, like it was always like instilled in me, like all my friends, like we're like, you have to have a niche because you got to fit in somewhere, like because like porn and like encapsulates so much. Like there's literally like cajillions of like genres of porn.
A
And like
million, yeah, it's crazy.
oh, and it's like you gotta like fit in somewhere. Like so because it's like obviously that's how you get a fan base, that's how you become successful, like XYZ. So and early for me it was like obviously I like to do crazy porn. So BDSM was like immediate, and I mean, that was like always like something that I've always wanted to do and like something I've done like in my personal life. Like that I was getting beat up and like, doing like heavy intense stuff like just
Yeah.
because I wanted to, but I was like, oh, I can like monopolize on this and like actually like be successful and like and actually do like good things and like meet with other cool people and like contribute like to like actual good like BDSM porn and not like like act like the abusive shit that like we've seen. I'm like, wow, I can
Yeah.
do that. Like, okay, like let's fucking go.
Also, I feel like when you're working with other professionals, it like really changes the game where you're like, I'm not having these bad experiences because this person doesn't know how to use a flogger or doesn't know how to finger someone.
Right? Like, I mean, I've had issues where, like, I mean, like, I've like gone into things and I'm like, oh, it's gonna go well, and then I'm like, going over safe words and all that, and they're like, well, I don't really do that, and I'm like, all right, scene's done.
Yeah, I've
Like,
definitely,
I'm like that's like BDSM 101. You can like go to Barnes and Nobles and get like a fucking book that will tell you that. Like,
but like also most people aren't complete fucking nerds about this shit like you and I. Like
yeah,
that want to dive into all this and want to like have all these existential conversations about like what BDSM is mentally and like what all of that means, you know?
exactly. Like, literally, yes.
Um, so we talked about this just us on Twitter before, but like who are your like inspirations that really inspired you in this industry? Because you obviously were watching some pretty fucked up porn, as I was at the time.
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I mean, like honestly, Vanessa Vega, like she's one. I'm glad that I was
Mhm.
actually be able to do like a ginormous, like, I mean, like DVD porn with her, like which was like phenomenal, like just fantastic fucking artist, like performer, like all around, just like
Hmm.
good like human being, like has really like helped me help like honestly help me like be like, oh, because I'm like I have all these ideas and I'll go to her and she'll just be like, you why don't you just do it? And I'm like, yeah, why don't I just fucking do it? Like, because like sometimes I think of like these things that like are so out of like balance, and I'm like, no, they're not, unless I'm killing trying to kill someone on camera, it's not out of bounds. Like there's that, and like Casey Culver, like like I mean, try to
Yeah,
say, like I mean, just was like I like how like for me, like she like looks so like I mean, if you looked at her, you would not think that like
never.
the fuck shit that she gets into, and I like that. Like I love embodying that like type of like being both sides. Like I like and just the respect that like I have for that person is just like ungodly. And then, oh my God, I mean, there's so many people like, oh God, every time someone asks me this question, I should start writing down because I'm like, there's like a fucking list of people that I'm like, oh my God, that I like, but then I like, as soon as I get on here, I'm like, I know nothing, I know nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're like the same age. I think we got into porn roughly the same time. I got in a few years before you. But like I feel like the generation like the alt porn performers were doing so much crazy shit, like Belladonna too and Sasha Grey, where it's just
Oh my
like
God, yeah. Oh my God, I was like, yeah, I was about to say Sasha. Yeah. I was like, yeah, Sasha, like, of course, like Sasha was just, oh, phenomenal. Yes, phenomenal. Like, and it was kind of like one of those like intimidating things that like, oh, like, but intimidating in like a good way, you know?
yeah. I mean like I had all these things where I was like, fuck, I want to do gangbangs, I want to do all this crazy shit. But until Sasha Grey, I was like, oh, you can actually be that and be like a person still and like speak out for advocacy and like,
Right?
advocate for the industry, which like blew my mind where I'm like, oh shit, I
Right?
need
Like
to do this.
exactly, like no, like literally that's exactly like how it feels. Like that's why I was like saying it's intimidating because it's like intimidating on a good way of like, wow, I can do this because like I feel like a lot of times we're like, it's like the stereotypical thing of like important, like you're meant to shut up, do like have the
Yeah,
sex, be adult and like leave. But it's like, no, actually I can have a fucking mind and have a personality and have an opinion and do the scenes. And all of these things can be encompassed in one person. Crazy.
damn, we're so fucking on the same wavelength. Fuck yeah.
Like, like I can be a bimbo and I can have a fucking thought process. And I do have one. And like I'm a like and it's like I can actually be a really smart person and not just be like some like fuck doll that you see like on the internet. Like I want to be that and I am that, but I also there's an opinion behind those two little dumb eyes.
Yeah, right? Like call me a stupid whore in a scene. That's terrific. But like also I'm a
Like but
person outside of this. Like
right? Like yes, exactly. And I think a lot of like that and like they're like I mean they're like the multiple of like like I think it was like what really got me to like convince myself that I could do things is like because obviously like I started like like I mean what it's like almost 10 years ago. My 10-year anniversary is coming up like pretty soon. And
congrats. That's huge.
well, I know it's just like so weird. I mean next year, but I'm like, oh, that's weird. But it's like even back then, like trans porn was like not even nearly as
For
like
real.
it is like now, so just like any like most of the Transformers that I've like either like met, like just had the pleasure of just being on like co-stars with, like just like that is like help me be like like if they can go through everything that the industry has given them, minus like the world is giving them, and they're still fucking killing it and doing all these things, like why the fuck can't I, as like essentially like a cis white woman, like
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just like so crazy different because like back then it was still like the debate that I dealt with all the time where they're like, well, trans women can't be subs in porn. And I feel like all my activism was just literally to get to the point where I'm like, I'm a gangbang performer now. Like that's all the shit I want to do,
right,
you
like
know? And
yeah, like I mean it's like anyone can be some porn, like crazy thought.
yeah, it was like so shocking because I moved out here to work at the Kink Armory and I worked there for like 3 or 4 years. And their policy at the time was like, well, trans women can't sub. And it was
That
just like crazy.
And that is just like the wildest thing ever. Because like honestly, the most people I've met that are like trans women that are they're subs. Like
Yeah.
literally, it's like more of the I know more than not.
Yeah, I'm really glad that myself and do you know Stephanie Special?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we created the first trans submissive BDSM series. So now there's all these girls who are now I just interviewed someone who was inspired by that and is like, oh now I can be a sub in porn. I'm like, okay. I can pass on the slut dream. That's
Right,
all
like
that
it's
really
like
matters, you know?
you're passing the baton. Oh, I love that. Oh God, I bet that was probably like such a surreal moment for you, just to be like, like,
Yeah, it's really great. I think just yeah, like I just think people should be able to own their sexuality, and I think that's something that probably we both agree upon so much because being into BDSM this much, at first, like for me, I didn't understand it fully. I was like, I'm into this stuff, but I didn't realize that like could be a sexuality, you know?
yeah, exactly. Like that. Yes, definitely. Like I for one, and I always thought like maybe because I was like, is this part of my mental illness? Like why I'm like into like getting like beat the shit out of, you know? And I'm like, is this like some unresolved thing? But that can we can. I mean, that's also another thing of like it can like also like BDSM can also heal like help you heal things
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't realize that you repressed for so long. Like so that's also a thing too. But it's like and like having to like break it down. Like no, I can actually just like getting pissed on. Just to like getting pissed on and like that could just be like part of my sexuality and like what I like want to explore about it and that can literally be that because like as like fluid as like difficult as like a lot of people try to make sexuality to be
Mm-hmm.
it's really sometimes not that difficult and it's really just that easy and and it's really like that cool and I that's why I think the fluidity of sexuality like that's the cool part of it because it can't just it can be like it's like a wave you know it can be like a steady little but it can also do that you know and like
Yeah.
that and how we embark in that is our own journey and like that's what's the cool part of BDSM because it wouldn't be here without like it would not be here without with cis people. No, it would literally not exist if cis people were the only ones that were holding down the fort, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I just feel like it like challenges so much sexuality. Like Public Disgrace was always like my favorite series where I'm like,
Oh fuck yeah.
I'm mostly a dyke, but if Princess Donna's making me do straight shit, that's pretty fucking hot, you know?
Right? Like you're like, okay, well like I guess I like I mean for me I'm like, yeah, if you want to tell me to do something, I don't yep.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I am too. I'm like obedient. That's the shit that gets me off. Where
Right? Like my eyes, like I turn it, it's like I turn it like it's like the like little hamster in my head that like just like turns on and I'm like, all right, you got me.
it's really fun just to talk to another person who subs in porn this much that I'm like, oh wow, these are not conversations I feel like most performers have because it is such a unique thing where even before like a big scene I get nervous or whatever and I'm like, oh, I just have to listen to the dom. That's fine, you know? Like it
Right?
makes it kind of easier in a way.
No, like honestly, like right, if I just like listen and like let my body like because like a lot of like the big scenes that I've done, it's like I've done this before. Like, what do you mean?
Hmm.
Like I've been waterboarded, I've been fisted. Like, why am I so nervous? Like, get in there and do it, bitch. Like,
For real, because like it can feel like this big thing and like you're like, oh my God, can my body still do this? And it's like, yeah, of course it can, you know?
right? Like it like I do this like I don't know if you saw like that thread where I was like, I really want to be like waterboarded with piss, and then Vanessa was like, do it yourself, and then I was like, why don't I just waterboard my own self? Like,
That
I
was
was like,
like a lot of the pandemic for me where I'm like, okay, I need to find a way to make content out of this, but I don't know how. So I'm like, okay, if I can get a Dom to Zoom this, can we do a remote movie? And it was just like all this like planning and like so much of it's like you can really just do it by yourself. And I think like the DIY attitude with BDSM though too, like you just have to reach out to people. You just have to try and make this shit happen. Like when Princess Dawn and I did our public debasement scene, it was like me just not fucking shutting up about it for, 6 months where I would reach out to fucking everyone.
you're like, so we're like, I'm gonna do this. Like, so it's either I just do it myself and I get into that fucking place, or someone can do it with me. Either one, this shit's gonna fucking happen. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like that goes back to like the whole hardcore Midwestern roots where, if you want a show to happen, oh, just book it yourself.
right? Yeah, literally, yeah, exactly. Like, if you want, like, I mean, completely like detour from that, but it's like when I was like had the idea, I was like, I really want to get my pussy stapled, and just because I didn't want to get it, I
Fuck
mean,
yeah.
and I literally did it. It wasn't even for anything. I didn't film it. I just wanted to see how it felt because I was like, I've always wanted to. And you know what? I bothered enough people, and you know what? I got my pussy saved because I
Oh my
just wanted
God.
to. Like it was filmed, but I'm not. It's like I'm not gonna release it or anything. Like it was like filmed for like me and the people like there, but I was like, yeah, I just wanted to do it. That's it. Like, but it was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this fucking done. Like either way, like someone somehow is gonna do this for me.
I mean, I also think that's such a cool thing about BDSM is because there's like so many goals you can have where it's like, okay, I want to do this extravagant scene or this extravagant scene where I feel like other forms of porn are just like, oh, we're gonna do a girl girl scene. We'll show up at my hotel, you know.
Right. Right. And I'm like, and there's always like time, like, because I don't do any topping. Like, I like have it in like all my mod releases, everything. Like, I don't top. I've tried one topping scene and it was with someone that was like 6'4" and I felt like a spider monkey on them. Like, it was not good. And it was just like, I just couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, there's no one is going to take this seriously. No one's going to believe that I am topping you. Like, so I was just like, I'm just gonna be a submissive. Like, I'm not even gonna like try to switch or even try to like navigate that world. And I'm like, and then I feel like sometimes it is just cool to just to like be topped with a hot strap. Like, that's like sometimes like
Yeah, it's
it's like
terrific.
an 80-20 where I just want like the normal sex, whatever it is. But like the most time I'm like, no, beat the shit out of me. Like,
For real, I'm like, I want to push myself and like see what I can do.
yeah.
Also, so I used to do like, especially earlier in my career, I did a lot more like switching, at least like in a lesbian context with fingering and stuff. But I married someone who's a stone top, so my abilities, like my arm is nothing now. So I did a scene recently where I was in an orgy and she was like, "Oh yeah, can you top me in the scene?" My scene partner, I'm like, "Okay." My elbow is giving out so bad. I'm like,
You're
"I'm
like,
so
like
sorry."
you're like crying. You're like, oh God, I'm trying so.
I'm like, I forgot what a pussy felt like on my hand. It's been so long. Because like early in my career, like half of it was like, just like girl girl scenes where I finger someone and then bottom. So, yeah, I do not have that ability as much as I used to.
I try, but like sometimes I'm like, is my hand a virgin? Like, where have you been? You've been in so many places.
Yeah, so when I first got a kink, they're like, "Oh, you're a dom, right?" And I'm like, "No, who told you that?" And they're like, "Oh, we thought so."
No, there's nothing about me. Like anyone
No.
that asks me, and I'm like, what? Like, has any like at any of my profiles or anything I've ever posted have given an ounce of dom that I need to completely change immediately. I don't know what is going on, but like anything that I've ever sent out or any done or any performed or
Yeah.
produced. It is very subby, and because I always want to make sure that like I do not dom. I can't like I just don't harness it, and I feel like that's really important because like being a dom, like you hold like so much responsibility,
For
and I'm
sure.
not even gonna like try to act like I can. Like even like if it's not just like if it's not like there's like some like topping fun scenes that are like
Yeah.
it's not serious. It's just like a fun good old video. But like the ones that are like actually like where you have to like zone in on like your importance of
Yeah.
being a dom. No, hell no.
Yeah, I get a lot of it on cam where people are like, "Oh, you're a sub. Can I sub for you?" And I'm like, "You do not have." I'm like, "You need to come with the enthusiasm," and they rarely, rarely do. I'm like, "You should be
Oh,
stoked
yeah.
about being told what to do and being told to do things you don't want to do. That's the fun of BDSM."
Ex- You get it. I feel like you
Yeah,
get the fucking
we're
shirt. Yay.
we're so on the same wavelength.
I don't know why I did like a seal, like, you
I
get
know. I feel like I'm just doing the same back to you, where I'm like, same, same. But like, that's the fun of BDSM is like suffering and not doing shit you actually want to do. That's like the point,
Yeah, exactly. Like the what I love about it is like I would like to push my body and see how much I can push until I can't push.
for sure.
Which I oh God, excuse me. Which I love.
Yeah. What scene has like really pushed you? Do you feel like that you push yourself the
Um
furthest?
Depending on like, it's probably the one like, when I got my pussy stapled, and at the same time, I did like, I was also doing like needle play, and before that, I got hit and like cow prodded for like 2 hours prior
Damn.
to like, and then I got strapped down and like, got my pussy stapled, and then had needles like all in here.
Damn.
And that was like probably like, a 2.5 hour like long like thing of just like constant like every endorphin of my entire body was like released. But I was just like I just felt like dead to the world. It was just like it was like in a good way. Like it was like one of those like things where I could feel like my like spirit of my body just like flailing on top of me, just like loving life.
Do you think you're like mostly a pain slut or like what of the
Yeah, I'm definitely a
okay.
masochist. Like I've always tried to like like I mean up until like like probably like the last 2 3 years I've been like, oh no, I'm not really that. And I'm like, bitch, just accept the fucking fate, bitch. You are a masochist. You like to get beat up, you like to be bruised, you like to bleed, and just accept the fate. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely like more of humiliation. So like I can take pain and shit, but it's like more getting me off because I'm like, oh, I'm doing something I don't want to for a dom. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like
I like
that's
I like to do both. Like I mean, I like if I could be humiliated while like being like hit at the same time, like
yeah,
nothing.
it's the best.
Yeah.
Like yeah, mine is probably I did a public disgrace scene with Princess Donna. We actually own it outright ourselves, so we did it completely ourselves.
Oh,
And
hell
I
yeah.
was never able to pee on cue before, and I was able to do that in the scene. I
Oh
like
shit.
was never able to do like I get paid on cam and sometimes people are like, "Can you pee?" And it's just like me being pee shy for 20 minutes.
And you're like, okay, let me think about this really hard.
Right? It's impossible. And then I got fisted like maybe like 15 minutes later in the scene. I've never been fisted by anyone else before. So I'm just like, all right, but that shit was intense. It was 2 full hours of
Just
like,
get fucked up.
yeah, and it literally felt like I was like in a 5 round like fight or something afterwards. It just like bruises everywhere. But
Oh, like
like the anal training, very understandable.
right.
Um, yeah, I was super pee shy before in scenes and I was never able to do it. So I was just like chugging water consistently for like 2 hours before the scene.
I mean, honestly, like I probably would be nervous too, like doing that scene like with Princess Donna. Like, I mean, I probably would I like my bladder would probably be like sucked up into its body. Like,
It was crazy. So it was her first scene back doing Public Disgrace, right? So
yeah.
she was doing the talk before with everyone on set. And like that moment it clicked. I'm like, holy shit. We're on a fucking Public Disgrace set and Princess Donna's back doing this.
Right? Like sometimes you're like, oh, this is like nothing, and then you like kind of like something clicks, you're like, oh
Right?
shit, like what the fuck is happening? Like my first like my biggest my like browser's debut scene was with
Yeah.
fucking like D Williams, and I was literally shaking getting my makeup done, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never like
I mean, there's so many moments like that early in like porn careers where you work with these people who you look up to so much. Like the first time I worked with it was like a year into my porn career and I worked with Bailey J. It was like her first scene out of retirement. And we were literally having sex and I was starstruck in the middle of it. Like
right? You're like, and it's like, I mean,
eh,
I kind of love how like these people are doing these like out of retirement or like out of like the break times with you. Like honestly, that's kind of like hot. Like they're like losing their like break virginities with you. I kind of like
that
that.
is true. I never thought of it that way, but
It's like you need a trophy for that. Like most virgin break virgin like
yeah, bringing people back to porn, being like, you should really do more.
right? Like this that's you. Like
I mean, I think part of it is just probably same with you. We're so actual fans of porn that like we respect the medium so much that like when we see people who have done a lot, like I think we have real like respect and like reverence for them, you know?
yeah, I mean, because I mean, for one, like this is not like I mean, because I think I mean, God, I could go on a whole tangent about this. I mean, about like like since the pandemic happened, like porn has like completely changed like everything, and like
Completely.
I mean, which is like I mean, I respect for like anyone that like people that okay, wait, hold on, I should back up. Anyone that chooses their life as sex work, like I like want to have like some ounce of like respect for them, and I'm not saying I
Yeah.
don't, but I think like we've kind of got lost in the sauce and like got lost in the the OnlyFans like popularity of like, oh, like I can just like nude model and like have like sex with like some random TikTok person, and that's it. It's like no, like there's people that have actually like for one like been murdered or like have to like like lose their entire families and like have really
Yeah.
escaped away and like law offices and like to like advocate for like why we are able to do the things we do, and like just I think that's kind of got lost in between of like having respect for that and then just being like, oh, I can just get on OnlyFans and make like 10 million dollars in like a second, but have no actual respect of like the community. And I think like that's been lost completely.
Yeah, it's just become so mainstream during I feel like the pandemic, like everyone has an OnlyFans now. Everyone knows a cam girl now. Like it's just changed so much.
Yeah, and like, like I'm like a single person, of like ever since like, after like I got uncollared, like I mean, and I started like trying to like date again. Everyone's like, "Well, I
Hmm.
had an OnlyFans once." And I'm like,
Yeah, cool.
"Fucking cool." Like, cool, this has been my life for like 10 years. Like this is like my life, like everything. But I think it's just like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on my soapbox. That's like
Oh
something
no, this is literally what this is for. This is, if anything else, your soapbox. Go for it. 1,000,000%.
like, I mean, because there's nothing wrong with like, I mean, like, because I get like, obviously, like, none of us have been like around a pandemic before. We're like
Yeah.
people were starting it just to like survive, which is like, that's where I'm like, I can't really talk shit because I get it, but I'm also, it's kind of one of those things of like, if you don't respect the community that paved the way for you, I feel like you don't really deserve to be in it, and I hate that, like not deserve to be in it, I shouldn't say, but I guess like you don't like. It just sucks that like they're the ones that are like highlighting shit of the other than the people that are like
Yeah.
actually that are like that have like done so much work and had like created like so much talent and like just do so much shit for the community that are like slow,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know.
a thing I fucking this is gonna be controversial as well. The thing I fucking hate is when people who are in porn are like, I would never watch porn. I don't like that. And it's just like you should at least have respect for the medium that you're in. Like you
Right,
should at least be able to be like know some of the history of it. You should be able to, respect some other artist in it. And that's like
right.
what I really hate, especially like within queer porn, is there's this element of it where they just want to put mainstream porn down without really viewing it as a real medium or anything that could be of value. And
Yeah.
I really hate that shit so
Yeah, because
much.
it's like, like I get like because I understand like I will say like I'm queer, like I'm definitely not straight. So but I also get that like like porn is changing. Like porn is changing.
Hmm.
And like people don't get like, Apollo, like RIP,
Yeah.
but like how like like had like a debut on browsers, which is fucking phenomenal. Like which would have never happened like if it wasn't for like the queer performers advocating and being in like mainstream porn
Yeah.
before that. So it's just like, it is happening and like it is important to like notice like both sides of things of like, yeah, like you can realize like you've been like, like fucked over by an industry like so many times, but also realize that like to not be fucked over, if you want to continue to work and continue to grow it, you got to keep doing that. Like it is a pendulum thing and it sucks. But I mean, that's just with I mean, for one, like being in an industry that is so controversial and being political, and anyone that says we're not political art, like everything we do is political. We are not like my entire body is a political statement. Like
Hmm.
and like it's
Yeah.
same with anyone that's in the industry. And that's what I don't get like when people like don't realize like, oh, like, like just like the people that I only do OnlyFans. Okay, well, you're still selling pussy. You're still
Yeah,
selling dick.
we're all still in the same
Yeah,
thing,
you're no better. Like the horror, like because it also goes into like the horror phobia of it all, except
in
when
the
like
hierarchy and all that shit.
God, yeah. I mean, there's so many like it's like it's like a food chain essentially, or
Yeah.
like food chain pyramid.
Pyramid. Food
But
pyramid. We're the same
yeah,
age. That was
but
a
it's
thing back then.
right. Like I mean, like the food pyramid of like just but it like it's almost like the oligarchy of like the fucking porn industry of
Yeah.
how it goes.
I mean, it is a very strange thing that we are in this highly visible version of sex work where, there's a few weekends a year where we're almost like treated like celebrities and shit. But then the rest of the time, we're dealing with banking discrimination. We're dealing with all this other shit. It's just so fucking surreal to be in this, honestly, especially myself being trans. Like, this is the only place that trans people can really exist and compete against cis people and not have it be a fucking thing. Like, I've gotten nominated for Best BDSM movie 8 times. I've never had any cis person be like, trans people don't belong in this category. Where if I
Like
was in film or music or sports, it would be that conversation.
yeah. Yeah, it would be. And that's what people like. I mean, sex work is like that's why I get so mad when people don't want to advocate for this because like like as like so many controversial things that are in porn that we could talk. I mean, we could talk until like our faces are blue because like I mean like porn's never gonna like oh God, sorry oh God, sorry, my allergies have been so bad, so I've been using that,
Oh
but yeah.
no.
Ugh.
You need to get on
But
the local honey thing. Ever since I started
God,
doing that, it's changed like my allergies so much.
really? I mean, that would make sense because like, they pollinate from the local flower.
Yeah.
Like, see, we're smart. We're smart little
See,
sluts.
we're smart. We can also do super degrading, fucked up shit, but also allergy
That needs a big
advice.
clip. See, we're smart. But yeah, it just oh God, sorry, I lost my train of damn it.
um, Advocating for porn
Oh,
performers, sex workers as a whole.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So just like people need to realize that like you got to do all the things like as much as like it's never going to change. I mean, probably like let's be real until the old heads die off and like not die off but like die off and like retire like and like there's like new directors like which there are like new directors are coming out,
Hmm.
right? And like they're not like the typical like ones that we see that are like only getting like the typical cis like tiny little white models. Like
Yeah.
until that happens, like we can't, but like it's never gonna change if we don't start now. Like I mean, if you haven't now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think we both seen the industry change so much too. Like, even in 2016, shit was fucking rough still. Like, there was still a lot of
Yeah,
slurs. There wasn't really any trans inclusion. I felt like mental
there was
health was not
none.
thought of at all, where it
It
was
was
just like,
oh
yeah,
god,
if you
excuse me.
burn out, you're a crazy bitch, essentially, and nothing else.
Yeah, and it's like no, like I mean, and that's crazy that like anyone would be like, "Oh, you're crazy." Like, what do you mean? Like, because at that point, what I feel like there was like no trans inclusion other than like I mean, if you were in those niches of like the that community, where
Yeah, you
like for
had to
like
be on a thing where they would call you a she-male or like whatever.
yeah, or you were like fetishized.
Yeah, heavily.
So it was like not even like you were taken seriously. So it's like you were made to be a joke. So it's like either like do I be a joke and try to better and up my career, or do I actually like not be fucking ridiculed and like fucking forced into being like essentially abused on set? Which one do I do? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I'm just so glad it is where it is now, and I can just shoot
yeah,
my fucked up stuff and like it just
right? Like
exists.
I agree. I agree.
Um,
Like I mean, there's still so much work, but like I mean we got to get there because I mean I love this industry and like I mean they're gonna deprive this like pouring out of my dead fucking fingers. Like I'm gonna retire doing this. Like so I
yeah,
mean
same. I mean, I think it's just such a amazing thing, medium to be in, and just like all the places it's taken me. Like, also you being from the Midwest, I don't think either of us ever anticipated anything we could do would be this large and,
thank you.
get
I
out into the world.
thank you. I really needed to hear that. Thank you so much. Like that was like really like uplifting because sometimes I kind of get like lost in like what I do and like maybe because it's like I had to take a break for like some things and like I sometimes feel like maybe like oh my time is over but I'm like no baby like your time is only like just coming like so thank you
Yeah. I mean,
like you're right.
yeah, like people from Kansas don't move out and make it in the entertainment industry, just like as people from Michigan don't really do that.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
not a thing.
You're fucking right. God, yeah. I'm like listening to the gospel of Chelsea,
Likewise back. I like how we're just like mirroring each other and that's what this is.
right? Like I feel like I need like we need like a hymn going on like a
Yeah, 100%. I had a feeling this is how this was gonna go. So you've been in this industry for a minute now, like coming up on 10 years. Do you have any like dream scenes that you haven't shot yet?
um okay, yeah, so I have um okay, so I've been writing this thing for like ever and I'm really bad at writing. Like I'm one of those people that I need to tell someone my ideas and like I need help like executing said ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like and I don't know if that makes sense or
Totally.
anything. But like I've had this thing where like I've wanted to do like a whole like redo like old horror movies but like in porn.
Okay.
But like a BDSM way. Like, my like one of my dream scenes that I've wanted to do is like in the Hostel 2 where the girl's like dangling over the other naked girl and like blood is dripping down. Like I want to recreate that so fucking bad. Like
You know what's crazy? I'm so terrified of horror movies.
Really, I love.
It seems like I'd be into it, but I'm such a baby with that stuff.
I don't know if it's like the severe blood kink that has like infected my brain for years, but I love it so much. Like I want to recreate that scene so bad, and like I want to like. And I know it's gonna be like expensive because like obviously having like the buckets of fake blood that's gonna have to go into that,
Hmm.
and like it's gonna have to be like a warehouse of just like a lot of movie and a lot of things. But like I think it would be like such a fucking cool ass fucking video of like for one like doing like heavy blood play like. Most of, I mean, it could, I mean, there's no way it could be real blood without it, like someone dying, but like it being like just like a heavy BDSM, like just like I don't know, like an or like almost could be like an orgy thing, and then like someone like and then like the main sub is like just like like just like taken up from like kind of like not like a crane, but like something like just drawn up
Yeah,
and
like a
just like
suspension bondage thing that can go
yes,
up and
thank
down.
you. I
Yeah.
couldn't think. I was like, what am I trying to think? And like and then the main sub is just like just dangling there, and she's just like the buckets of fake gore just like were on the other girl,
Yeah.
and they're just like playing with their tits. Like I think that would just be so fucking hot. Like.
All we need to find you is a warehouse and a rigger and you're set, right?
Yeah,
And someone will fund fake blood for you, I'm sure.
yeah. Like, I mean, I would do it. Like, I mean, I like honestly, like, I could always like, fake blood and me, like, we're like two peas in a fucking pod.
See, I produce way too much BDSM because whenever anyone tells me like a fucked up thing, I'm like, you can totally do that.
Like, no,
I'm
I
like,
want to.
let's do it.
You know how cool that would be? Like, I think that'd be such a and that would be such an easy thing to like do. Like, it would like
Yeah.
and it could, I mean, because I would want to start to like to be like an orgy type thing, and then like it could be like the main like the dom person would like pick the subbiest one, which because like the only thing is like I want to be able to direct it and like participate in it, and I don't know how to like because I'm like because I want to because I know I have like my thing is like I have like a lot of really good ideas and a lot of like
Hmm.
things I want to like show in the industry, but like I feel like I'm like for one thinking like they're like either dumb, not dumb, but like kind of silly. Like how can I actually execute these things? And I'm like, no, these are actually like executable things. Like
Yeah. I mean, that's what I kind of figured out with doing the public debasement thing because it was so much production work that I'm now like, you can make anything happen. Like, if you just put enough effort and you're just like, I'm gonna make this and not give up,
right,
like, yeah, I think it's also about finding like someone who's doing videography or who's directing who really understands your vision, and you have to like ex over explain it to them in a way because it's you
right.
obviously can't really direct when you're like in subspace and shit, you know?
Right. And like I want to be able to like dang like I want to be the one dangling with like buckets of like blood like dripping all
Obviously.
and then like the people like it doesn't have to be like tits. It can literally be like literally anyone. Like pretty much just anyone that's like not a cis man can just be on the ground and just like the
Yeah.
buckets of like the blood that's like pouring from my body like pouring onto them and they play like that to me. I'm like that is like the hottest scene I've ever thought. Like I mean, and just like a remake of like Hostile, like that is such a good fucking movie. And that scene like that should have like was like another like awakening of like I like blood a lot. A lot. But
That's
that's
so great.
that's the goal, and that's like what I want to do like this year. Like that scene like to me, I'm like that will fucking happen. Like
Yeah. You should definitely submit that to like film festivals and stuff in Europe. Like that would really, I think, hit over there.
oh God, I know. I would. I want to go to Europe so bad. Just like spend like a 3 month little like stunt and just like be able to like do all like the crazy BDSM shit because like that I can do over there.
Yeah, I mean that's like most of the BDSM I watch now is like Eastern European BDSM because I don't know anyone. So I'm like, okay, I can watch this. Where like
Right?
the
It's like
stuff here,
yeah,
I'm like, I know most of the people.
right. And I'm like, I'll pay to watch it. Like obviously, I'm gonna pay for my porn, but
Yeah.
I'm also like, and not that I feel bad, but I'm like, it's kind of that weird like.
Like, see, if it's like a sub friend, I'm like, no. But if it's like maybe a dom who I worked with, then I can be like, oh,
Oh, yeah, if it's a dom that I worked with, then
uh,
I'm like, I message them, like I've done that and I'll message them. I'm like, need it now.
yeah, like rewatching Public Disgrace after being in one, I'm like, fuck, I had that happen too. That's
Right? Like,
hot.
yay!
Relatable. Relatable content. Um,
God, I wanna do a public disgrace season so bad. I feel like I would kill it, but
yeah, I'm 100% think you would absolutely murder that. So you brought up before how you're 4'10". How do
Mhm.
you feel like that like impacts you as a performer? Like, do you think you can do kind of more extreme stuff because of like size difference stuff, or do you think it limits you in any way?
Um, I mean, the only thing I think it limits is like the positions that I have to get into. Sometimes I have to remind directors they're like, oh, like this, and I'm like, I physically can't do that.
Yeah.
Like my I have like my legs look like little sausages. Like they're like this. Like I mean, but it's like, yeah, I can fist myself and stuff, but it's like the way I do it is not gonna be sexy. Like, I mean, like, because it's gonna be like me like concaving into like a little armadillo ball, you know? Like I'm only, you know what I mean? But that's the only thing of like people like sometimes like if they like write scenes for me and they like when I say 4'10", I'm like, I don't think they like I mean there's obviously there's Kaya, there's so many other people that are tinier, but they're not doing the kind of shit that I'm doing. So it's like a lot
For
different when they
real.
for me and I'm like, did you think of my legs being like this?
Um, yeah, I think it's just like so interesting in porn, like especially you see it at AVN, like there's so many body types in porn and so many heights and like just everyone's in it. And I think that's like the coolest thing about this industry is you can shoot extreme porn if you're 4'10", you can shoot it if you're 5'6", you can shoot it if you're 6 feet tall. Like there's just so many different things that people can do, you know?
I know. And that's what's so beautiful. Like, that's what I love about this industry. Like, you can like, I mean, like, because there's a, like literally a niche for everyone. Like, you can be like the tiniest person ever. You could be the most plus size of like the plus
Hmm.
size, you know. And it's like there's someone like there's a niche for you everywhere. Like it's beautiful. Like you're welcome. Like and it's like to me, like every body is beautiful. And like when people are like, oh, someone into that, I'm like, yeah, for sure. If
A
you
million
can do it,
percent.
someone's jacking off to it.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, I feel like AVN reminds me of the Olympics in that way because there's
oh my.
every body type and they all have their own specific thing that works great for them.
Like people literally throw rocks for and like get like gold medals for it. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like
So I also wanted to ask you this because I've never actually talked to very many people this short. So who's like Sabrina Carpenter obviously is a short girly
Mhm.
in the media about it. Like who's like the top cool short girls that you are like that the community fucks with?
Oh my God. I mean, it probably either had to be like Sabrina because I think like I mean because I don't know if like Chaperone she looks small, but I don't know if she like is like tiny.
I
I think
can look
she
that up actually.
yeah, I was like we have the internet. I feel like she's one of those like secret like maybe look like short girlies, but like are actually not short girlies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Chaperone.
Oh, 5'2".
Yeah, okay, I was
So
right.
like Gaga height, yeah.
Yeah, like and like yeah, like I mean that and I think also like SZA, I think SZA's pretty like fucking tiny as well. Like I like oh my God, SZA I feel like SZA is like Taylor Swift to me like oh my God, like get me on a bad day, I want to be screaming SZA and Taylor Swift.
Also, like being a Taylor Swift fan, like that height gap is literally a full foot.
Oh
Like,
my God, I know. Like and like the iHeart music I'm stressed out today about
oh, the one with the Bruno Mars photo.
Um, oh no, like with like, cause like, she's like the iHeart Music, like iHeart Radio.
Oh,
It's tonight, and she has like a special like announcement, and I'm
is
like,
it
give me.
Reputation? Is it
I
Reputation?
don't know.
If it is,
I'm wearing my rep. I
oh,
have like a literally gold plated fucking rep. Like
I have my lover book right here.
I
Yeah.
won't. I won't show like I literally have like essentially like a shrine of Taylor Swift. Like it's like an entire wall of Taylor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can go into that too. Like, so are you into every Taylor album?
Yes. Okay. So obviously,
Okay.
Rep is my favorite because it's like the first time she
Same.
like literally took a like instead of making everyone make herself look like a victim. Not saying she made herself look like a victim, but making like letting everyone make herself a victim.
Being the villain,
Like you know
yeah.
what? Go fuck yourself. I'm gonna come out with this hot ass album, and people say it's her worst album. It's her best fucking lyrically for me album next to Folklore. I'm sorry.
But like also like we were both like fucking emo in high school, so I
I
feel
like
like that's also our fault.
like
Like
honestly, like yeah, like emo is just shit, and like and
yeah.
what like Torture's Poet Department, like like lyrically genius, like literally, oh my God, like
I ca- I can't with it. Like there's like one song.
what is it? Wait,
I can do it
let me
with a
guess.
broken heart, obviously.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I
That's a
literally was saying
banger.
mine. Oh my God, mine is the Black Dog.
I mean, I listened to the whole album, but like I don't know what that song is.
Oh my God, no. Sorry, that I literally okay, so the Black Dog in the smallest man you ever live, I was the top 0.5 people listen to that album. I that album is literally imprinted in my fucking brain chemistry, I think.
I have like there's certain albums I love. Lover, 1989, Red, Reputation, Midnight's terrific, but like Folklore Evermore didn't fuck with at all.
Right.
And then Torture
I'm
Poets
the sad
Department,
I'm
I'm
the sad.
like, yeah.
See, I feel like you're like the happy, like you're the happy-go-lucky Taylor Swift when I'm like the demise of like I'm like I'm like the cut my wrist and black my eyes Taylor fan.
Yeah, you are into the Hawthorne Heights of the Taylor Swift discography. Oh my
Literally,
God.
like so like the Midwest emo goes through and through. Like
Yeah, did you have you've been to like multiple award shows and stuff. Did you get a chance to, like meet the performers that you like really looked up to and stuff?
I have like I've gotten really like I get really like nervous. Like I'm a very anxious person. Like
Hmm.
everyone calls me like a chihuahua. Like I'm just tiny and I just shake all the time with anxiety. So I have like a really hard time of like when I like go up to people and like being able to like articulate in like a professional way of like instead of be like I love you. Like and I know it sounds silly, but like
Yeah, do you have any awkward interactions with anyone like that?
yeah, yeah. You can.
You can share yours. I'll share some of mine so you're not alone. If you're willing to share them, of course.
So yeah, I there was like a God, I won't even like put their name out because how embarrassing it was. But there was like this one, it was like the 2020 AVM like
Yeah, right before the pandemic. Yeah.
yeah, all right. But yeah, and I like went up to them and they were like and I like asked them to make out and they made out with me when we both got kicked out of AV that year.
Oh,
And so I will not name them. We're like still friends and everything like now, but like I was like, what did we learn? What did we learn?
I see my anxiety is way higher. Like I'm assuming you know like Stoya, right?
Yeah.
So Stoya is like up there with Sasha Grey for me. It's like one of my all-time influences and shit. And we were on a panel together and I got there early and I walked into the room and I didn't know she knew my name personally and she's like, "Hi, Chelsea," and I had to walk out of the room.
You're
I'm like, I can't handle this right now. I can't handle that you know my name.
like, all right.
I can't handle this right now.
Oh my God. Like there was that. I think it's like I'm so bad with names. Like and literally like I need to start like writing down names more. I think when I like met like Eli Cross for the first time, I literally
Hmm.
was like just stone face like
It is very funny when you meet these people in this industry and it's like I met Joanna Angel before, but I ran into her at AVN and she was just at the bar alone. And I was like went up to her and I was like I was emo and I didn't know I could do porn and then I saw your porn. And she
and
gave me
you're
a
like, all
hug.
right, well, bye.
It's like this was early 2 months ago.
Oh,
I'm just like you're so important and all this
oh my God.
stuff.
Okay, so now that you said that, okay, so like literally the first time I met Small Hands, I
Yeah,
was being like walked around as a cat.
makes sense.
So I literally was kneeling at his feet and someone got a picture of it and I was like I was like, why do I do the things that I do? And it's funny
Uh,
because like I literally have a photo, like I was working with him like at like oh God, in a booth like in 2015 seven, like it was either showing 17 or 18
Yeah.
exotic. I can't even remember. But I was like, I literally have a photo next to him, and I was like, so I'm like, why? I don't know why I was so nervous, and I'm like, I literally worked with you, like, why? But I was like, no, that was my first thing was just to grab onto his leg, and I'm like, okay. Like obviously, I asked and said hello. I didn't just like run up and just like.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like no, like obviously respect, but like I was also being walked around as a cat, so I mean like I like all like dignity had gone out the window by then.
yeah, you're in slut mode. Like, it
Yeah,
just is. Like, I feel you.
yeah. I mean, there's that. I mean, there's also oh my God. I think the first time I met like Jesse Lee and I just was like
Oh,
I was literally like just so magnetized of like it's kind of the same thing of like oh like you can be like a hot tattooed person in the industry and be like tiny and like actually have opinions and like do and
for
like
sure.
cool things and like it was awesome like I mean like we worked together like at the same booth that I worked with Small Hands with and then like literally like years later she asked me to do a full scene with her and I was like do you not remember how weird I was?
When I first met Jesse Lee, it was like the first award show back after the pandemic, and they were at my table. I was like, "Holy fuck, that's Jesse Lee!" And my partner was like, "Can I get a photo with them?" I'm like, "No, don't."
Dude, we don't exist to them. We don't exist.
Like, that's not. And then he like became actual friends afterwards, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, I
Right?
know her. She's so badass."
Dude, honestly, and like, and like Jesse like helped me like actually like through like I went through like a really weird breakup and like Jesse like helped me out a lot with that. And I'm like, God, like and it's like really cool because I think it also goes into like when like you think of like the people that you looked up to, they're like, oh, they're just like normal people like us. And it's like it kind
Yeah,
of cool because it makes you think of like, oh shit, we are all just people, but like and like we're on the same wavelengths as them. And it's kind of like we're all in the same little bubble and group, and it's like it kind of just gives you like a little heart fuzzy little bunny feeling, you know?
for sure. I feel like going to AVN and like doing these conventions, like you just
They're
feel
so
fucking
important,
normal about porn. Like it's just like, oh yeah, this is just a normal ass job. I'm not
right?
crazy and doing all this shit on my own.
Like, I mean, yes, I am, but like,
Yeah, it can definitely feel, I feel like when you're just like producing your own shit for so long, I feel like it can feel very small and very much like, oh, I'm doing this project and it's living on my computer right now. And you don't think about kind of how
like,
it's going to go out into the world and become its own thing.
yeah, no, exactly. It's like, especially when like I don't want to say like an empire, but like we can like build like. I mean, I guess it's a like an empire and like an
Yeah,
entire base of like basically your own self, and then you like step on because like people are like recognizing like what you're doing, and that like to me that's such a like a weird like cornucopia of like a thing of like me, little me, like, and I did that when I was in Kansas, and like, I was like in
for
school.
real.
I literally was going to school like 5 days a week, flying out to Vegas, LA, like on the weekends, flying back,
Damn.
and then I finally like, I made the move because like I went to AVN, like, because I had been going to Exotica, then I went to AVN, and it was like I at that point like had been asked to sign at like multiple booths at that point, and I was like, okay, like, no, this is it, baby, like, this is it,
For real. It's like such a big thing when you realize that where you're like, shit, this is gonna be the thing. And I feel
right?
like also like being in a creative thing, like being in the hardcore scene and shit, I was like, I think I'm supposed to be in bands. I think this is my medium. But then when you really find it with porn, you're like, oh, this makes sense. This is the thing.
You're like this is like what I've been like the thing that's been missing for like so long, you know what I mean?
For
Like
sure.
you're like and then like it's like a little like light bulb clicks and you're like, "Oh shit, yeah. Like this is where I'm supposed to be." Like yeah.
Yeah. So I have a few more questions for you. This has been
Sure.
so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Um, So, what are you like most proud of during your career so far? Because you've done like a lot of your like big fantasy stuff. I mean, I feel like a big through line with both of us is that we really are expressing our actual sexualities on camera and really exploring ourselves and pushing ourselves.
I think honestly like letting go of like for one like I think letting go of like what I think I had to be of like
Yeah,
and I think that's been like, I mean, like, which sounds so silly, but I think that is like something that is like that. I mean, I think we struggle every day with, or like the, like the confidence of like what we have to do and like what we have to embrace to be able to do these type of scenes and like the type of work that we do and being on like the forefront of like we're literally like beaver out in front of everybody all the time and like
Yeah.
and I think like doing that and like being able to like and be able to express that while like being able to like have all these creative ideas and being able to like put those in motion. I think that is because like I mean I've always like struggled with like confidence and just being able to like believe in myself that I can like execute these things and like I can
Yeah.
do that in like in a place where I can be taken seriously.
Yeah, that's so real. I mean, I love that we've been able to talk about both the mental aspect of this, of like, I think a lot of people think the hard part about porn is just the performing part, but
No,
it's also being
that's almost the
like,
easiest part to me.
yeah,
Like
right, same. Like that it's like the doubt that goes through it where you're planning these things and you're like, I don't know if I'm fucking crazy trying to do this. I don't know if this is so crazy that no one's gonna want this, and like really trusting yourself and believing in yourself and having the confidence, I think's like a whole nother secondary set of skills that's so essential.
yeah, I agree too, and I think I wish that was like more talked about because it's like we I feel like a lot of times like we see like all these like things and it's like like these models that are doing like they're just doing like the outlandish like crazy stuff that is like so phenomenally cool in that like they're doing like all these like big like scenes with studios and it's like
Hmm.
that needs to be talked about of like the complete like just like how much it like how much confidence it takes and how like cool it is that like people have like exude that much confidence to like be able to execute those dreams and I think that is like the biggest thing for me and I know it sounds like silly like like I've done scenes that like I mean I'm not like I've done like amazing scenes like with like Eli Cross when I like did my like Bang Bros when I did
Hmm.
Browsers and like I still like I'm hoping for my kink fucking debut. I still have not been on kink. I don't know how but
Honestly, as someone who worked at the Armory, I don't think you need them. I think you can execute your shit way better and make it way more extreme on your own.
yeah I
Like,
mean I Yes, I think so too, and I want to be able to own rights to it, like, because I think like the scenes I
yeah,
want to do, like, but I mean, I just to like have it under my sleeve, but just like I just think that like the confidence that like people have to exude, I think that is not talked about enough, and like
yeah,
just like how brave that we all are, like I think that's like for me, like on the which I know, like again, I don't know if it sounds silly. But to me, it's like it's something that important to me that I've had to like really get over, like the confidence to like I can fucking do these things. I am someone
yeah,
has like cultivated all these things. And I think that needs to be celebrated a lot more than it is.
yeah, 1,000%. That's honestly such an amazing thing to bring up because I feel like it just gets overlooked so often.
Sorry, my cat's gonna start screaming. It's almost dinner time,
It's
so
totally fine. So I have one final question for you. This is my only BuzzFeed kind of question.
I love it.
Um, if you could magically change one thing in porn, so you wake up tomorrow and it's completely different, what would you have it be?
Um, about like 90% of the cis males gone.
Love that. I'm like, as someone who basically only shoots lesbian porn, I'm like, I can be down on that.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like that, like without that, like a lot of like the drama and like a lot of like every industry of like accusation and everything. And I'm talking about like, and that's not even just performers. I'm talking directors,
Yeah,
producers. Like I'm talking like all of like that encompass it. If it was like a lot of them were just like vanished, I think it would like it would go a lot smoother.
yeah, I can definitely. You don't have to sell me on excluding
No
men.
more
It's
men.
it's
Oh
too.
no. Oh
It's
no.
I'm like, you don't have to sell me on that every time. I feel like every time I run am around a man for an extended period of time, like my view of being a lesbian separatist like starts to rise every single time. Like
Right?
even gay men, I'm like,
Like I almost like turn into like a gay elitist, like which I didn't even know was a thing. I think I just like made that up. But being a gay elite, like if I'm around enough like straight white men, I'm like,
Did you ever see it's a porno called The Misandrist?
okay, that sounds so familiar. That
So
sounds
it's by Bruce LaBruce. It's a movie about a lesbian separatist cult that makes porn to fund the revolution.
Okay, that I think that sound okay. That sounds so familiar. I don't know why, because I feel like I literally just like heard that, like not like just heard about it, but like heard that name. Oh my God, you have to message me that because I'm like, okay, now I
You
can
you
watch.
need to see. I saw it in the Berlin Porn Film Festival, and there's like a lot of like European porn people in it, but it's also like just fucking amazing. Like it's so fun. It's so much fun. Like the first like 10 minutes, I was like, wait, is this turning transphobic? And then it worked out at the end. I'm like, oh, it's not. That's
Yeah, okay,
terrific.
because it's like honestly, sometimes you're like, God damn it, like we were doing so good, and then now here we are.
Yeah.
Like you had to be transphobic for like no damn reason.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been such a great conversation. I'm so excited to see what you continue doing in your career. I'm sure we're gonna be in each other's DMs. I feel like we are coming at porn from such a similar way.
Right? Oh yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Yeah, hopefully, like we can like do some sh crazy shit together. I feel like it's about time.
Please, yeah. Yeah. Anytime you're in the Bay, let me know. And I'm in Vegas way too much like every other porn performer right now. Like I know the inside and out of every single hotel on the Vegas Strip now, and it's
Unfortunately, I do too.
it's like not anything I ever wanted to do. So like anytime I have friends or family members, I'm like, "What hotel are you staying in?" And then like,
Right?
"You need to
And
do
they're
this, this, and this."
like, and I don't even fucking drive, and I'm like, and the parking's right there. Like,
Yeah. Um, where can everyone find you on social medias, and do you have a website where people can see your work?
yes, yes. So, on Twitter, it is pocket size Ollie X. And then everywhere else, like my website is the Olivia V X.com, and that's like my Instagram, Pornhub, all of it, like OnlyFans, everything. My Twitter's the only one that I can't change because someone else took it from me. So that's the one I can't fucking
Oh,
I know. And I was like, whoever did that hates me. Like,
that's brutal. You have to like embrace it at some point. Like someone was catfishing one of my partners as me for a while
oh, okay, that's so
on
fucked up.
Instagram, so I had to be the fake Chelsea Poe. So I just played
Honestly,
into it.
I wanted to be like not Olivia V, but I was like, someone's not gonna believe me one time and it's gonna be like one of my actual like in-person customers, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. So
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed our conversation. Deep dive into BDSM, Taylor Swift, Midwestern
honestly,
hardcore.
BDSM and Taylor Swift is literally all I live for. So
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone, and bye.
bye.